Hi, this is Mrs. Show. Today we're going to review how to multiply and divide rational numbers before we take our quiz over that. The first thing we're going to review is how to change a decimal to a fraction. So if I look at this, I have -3, so it's going to be -3, and then my fraction would be 72, and then I would look at my place value positions. The 7s are the tenths, the 2s and the hundredths, so 72 over 100. But I have to make sure I simplify it. So I'm noticing 72 and 100 are both even. I could divide by 2, and this would be -3. Half of 72 is 36. Half of 100 is 50. But that could be simplified further because I could divide by 2 again to get -3. 36 divided by 2 is 18. 50 divided by 2 is 25. That is in simplest form because the only number that goes into 18 and 25 is 1. Okay, we need to review how to change a fraction to a decimal. This really means -3 divided by 8. So what I'm going to do is take 3 and divide by 8. I've got a negative divided by a positive, so I know my answer is going to be negative. I'm going to put 3 in the box and divide by 8. I'm going to make this 3.0 so I can divide. My decimal point's going to go straight up. 8 won't go into 3, but 8 will go into 30 3 times. So 3 times 8 is 24. Subtract, get 6. Check, is 6 less than 8? Yes. So add a 0, bring down a 0, and divide again. Let me see how many 8s go into 60. Let's see, 7 times 8 would be 56. Subtract, get 4. Check, is 4 less than 8? Yes. So add a 0, bring down a 0, then I'm going to divide again. So how many 8s go into 40? 5. 5 times 8 is 40. So then it eventually ends. So this would be a -0.375, or you can say 0.375. Okay, next we're going to review multiplying. If I take -3 times 1 and 5, 6, I have to make them improper. -3 is the same as -3 over 1, but make 1 and 5, 6 improper by taking 1 times 6, which is 6, adding 5 to get 11, that would be 11 over 6. Then I'm looking for cancellation. 3 goes into 3 and 6, so 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 6 twice. I don't see any more cancellation. Remember, when I multiply a negative times a positive, I get a -11 over 2. But that's improper, so I got to take 11 and divide by 2. 5 times 2 is 10. Subtract and get 1. If I go in a circle, that would be -5.5. Okay, when we multiply decimals, we do not have to line up our decimal points. So it is okay if I write my problem this way. It is also okay if you use lattice multiplication when you multiply. I'm going to go ahead and use traditional. So I'm going to go 5 times 5 is 25, carry a 2. 5 times 7 is 35, plus 2 is 37, carry a 3. 5 times 0 is 0, plus 3. Now remember, before you multiply by the second number, you've got to put 1 0 down because there's one number behind it. 5 times 5 is 25, carry a 2. 5 times 7 is 35, plus 2 is 37, carry a 3. 5 times 0 is 0, plus 3. And then you're going to add, let's see, 7 and 5 make 12. That's 10, 1 more is 11. Remember how you know where your decimal point goes. You count all the numbers behind decimal points. There are 3 in this problem. So I'm going to start at the end and go 1, 2, 3. And then I've got a negative times a positive. So the tic-tac-toe chart tells me a negative times a positive is a negative. So my answer would be -4.125. All right, when we divide mixed numbers or fractions, first we have to change our mixed numbers to improper. So 1 times 3 is 3, plus 2, this would be 5/3, divided by 2 times 6 is 12, plus 1 would be 13/6. And then what I do is I keep change flip. I make it 5/3 times 6/13. You can't do cancellation until you flip. So now that I've flipped, I'm noticing 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 6 twice. I don't see any other cancellations, so when I multiply across, I get 10/13. And I've got a positive divided by a positive, so my answer is positive. All right, lastly, when you divide decimals, the first number always goes in the box. So 6.64 goes in the box, divided by 0.4. The number you're dividing by, you have to make a whole number by moving your decimal point to the end. If you move this decimal point once, you move this one once. You always move them the same number of places. Remember, as you divide, your steps are, does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? First you divide, then you multiply, then you subtract, then you check, then you bring down. So first I'm going to see how many 4s go into 6. 1. Then I multiply 1 times 4 to get 4, subtract, get 2. Check, is 2 less than 4? Yes. When you bring down, you only bring down one number at a time. So I bring down my 6, and then I start all over with divide. How many 4s go into 26? 6. 6 times 4 is 24. Subtract and get 2. Check, is 2 less than 4? Yes. If this number was higher than 4 or equal to 4, that means your answer up here would be wrong. You'd have to change it. But since 2 is less than 4, I'm okay. Bring down the 4. 4 goes into 24, 6. Now that number goes right above the number you just brought down. Then you multiply 6 times 4 to get 24. And then our problem ends. I go back and I notice I got a negative divided by a negative. The negative divided by a negative is a positive, so this would be a positive 16.6. Okay, now you are ready for your quiz.